Welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon alongside Matthew Brune. It is the Sunday Rewind where, man,
Do we have
we've
to
watched
rewind?
it again. What'd you say?
Do we have to? Do we have to rewind?
For the people. For the
Okay.
people.
All right.
We've got to contractually obligated, in fact, to make this podcast go. We welcome you in, Bryce Koon, Matthew Brune, Shea Dixon, not with us tonight. He's grinding, making sure he's getting some stuff up on the board after a crazy weekend in terms of what happened on the college football landscape. Brune, kind of crazy. You and I were like we were in the Oxford bubble around college football. Everything's going nuts. So we kind of thought, and I won't say you said, hey, maybe people won't care as much because of what's happening in those late slate games. But no, Shea's going to have some great stuff in terms of the bye week content. What is the feeling? What are the vibes around the building? So just Brune and I tonight. I know that's going to make people so upset and so angry. But
They're here for me and Shea just to yell at each other. And unfortunately, I can only yell at Bryce today. So
well, we could have just, honest to God, if we'd have known this, recorded our conversation in the car ride back to Baton Rouge last night.
The 5-hour drive back.
A 5-hour podcast and just giving people that on Sunday morning.
We should.
But nonetheless, Damon Wilson already coming in hot with the bench, the Nuss bust comment. BD says, I don't want the wide receivers to lose faith in the quarterback because they're getting put in horrible positions by Nuss. We're going to talk about offense. We're going to talk about defense here as well. But I want to – have you gone back and rewatched the game?
I watched the highlights back. I didn't watch the full game back.
YouTube does I can't remember what they're not a sponsor, but Wheels, they count Wheels, does like a condensed version of the game. So it's more than just like the ESPN highlights they put out. Okay. It's a condensed version. And so it's like a 25-minute video where it's got like not just the highlights, but it has full drives and everything. I went back and watched that today. And we'll see kind of, where we land in this. But I guess I start off with this, Brune. I still can't believe that the defense was on the field for 50 plays in the first half. Like, that to me, I went back and watched it, and I couldn't get over the fact that it was a manageable deficit heading into halftime with the how bad you played offensively in the first half. And I want to give props to the defense. I understand the second half wasn't good in terms of what they needed to do, but I just don't know what you expected out of them realistically with what you had to endure in the first half to even keep the game close.
Yeah, I think they ended the game with 90 total snaps on the field. It might have been more, honestly. I think that's just the Harold Perkins snaps. Let me double check before I just run my mouth about something here. Yeah, Harold Perkins, 90 snaps, A.J. Halsey, 88, Delane, 88, Whitweeks, 82, Cooley, 78, and so on. I mean, that is an obscene amount of snaps. And like I said, for 50 of them to come in the first half, it didn't take long for us to feel like, damn, this defense is feeling it. This defense is – and there's one thing to practice tempo. It's one thing to practice, going fast and getting your calls in and getting in the right position. There's another thing when you are on the road in Vaught Hemingway and Lane Kiffin has like the first 20 plays seemingly schemed up and they're just running at you every 2 seconds and snapping the ball. And they did a good job to start. And that's the reason why I struggle to say I think, or I guess the better way of putting it is I think fatigue is a real thing because the first 2 drives they go 3 and out. Ole Miss does. And then after that, the dam starts breaking and you start seeing cracks and then Ole Miss gets comfortable. And even when they didn't score on that drive, they get inside the 9 and they settle for a field goal. And then they get down to the 1 and A.J. Halsey punches it out for a fumble. And you're seeing the cracks. And then into the second half, albeit it was better than that stretch where they had, was it like 5 drives where they were moving the ball fairly consistently.
Yeah.
But then they end the game where they essentially just run the ball for 3 first downs and close it out with 5 minutes left. So I think there's the gray area here, which we can operate in. I kind of mentioned on last night's reaction where we were hoping this defense was like a top 5, top 3 defense in the country. At least I was. And they're not quite that. I think they're still very, very good. But expecting them to just go out and beat, like you said, 2021 Georgia and hold people to 7 points is just not realistic here. So it's complimentary football, like Brian Kelly said, but man, I give a lot of credit. I think Lane Kiffin and that staff out-coached the hell out of LSU's.
I want to say something to your comment about the 2021 Georgia, 2011 Alabama, 2011 LSU, like those defenses that were really, really good. Those are generational type of units. So, like, when we're comparing that, it's you have to take a step back and say, they're not that. Well, that's fine because we don't know when we'll see that ever again. Like, that's how good that was.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most recent one being that 2021 Georgia unit that's essentially the Philadelphia Eagles defense at this point. But, like, just in terms of what they have, like, Brune, I don't know if this still isn't a top 5 unit because I guess I can't get the past. What defense in college football would have been able to do that? 21 Georgia. Well, that's a unique one-off thing. So I guess that's probably where I kind of sit with this is I still think this is a top 10 defense in the country. You held, and I want to go to this comment right here. BD says, if someone told me we held Ole Miss to 24 points, we lost, I call them crazy. BD, I said in my preview, I said, if they scored more than 25, I was going to be worried. If you got under 25, I thought you'd win the football game. We'll talk about offensively what was wrong, but I don't know, man. That was I
don't know.
I don't know how. I'll say this, and then Brian Kelly saying post game they weren't tired, dude. Come on, like come
people
on.
Cannot still be believing Brian Kelly at this point. I'm sorry, like I'm not saying he's a liar, like flat out liar, but as coaches do, coach speak. Coaches extend the truth. Coaches, try to talk to their team, so on and so forth. Like, we can't be here saying, well, Brian Kelly said they're not tired. Brian Kelly said this offensive line was really good before the year started. Brian Kelly says Nussmeier's healthy. Like, we don't have to take his word as being the absolute truth. Again, I'm not calling him a liar, but he's a college football coach, for God's sakes. Like, we know what this is. We know what it is.
30 years, he knows what to say.
He's a politician before he got into this. He knows what he's doing. So again, I don't think he expected Nussmeier to. He didn't kind of give an answer in the non-answer type thing, which again, offense is a whole different discussion. But yeah, the defense was tired. The defense looked tired in the second quarter. The defense looked tired in the fourth quarter. Harold Perkins played 90 snaps. I don't care who you are. You played 90 snaps in a football game. You're exhausted. It's just how it goes. So, yeah, I agree with you.
To BD's comment earlier, you only gave up 24 points. This is what the difference was. Ole Miss's passed big plays. You gave up 8 passing plays of 15 yards or more, and you gave up 6 rushing plays of 10 yards or more. Okay? So you had explosive plays, as quantified. You had 14 of them in the game. You know how many LSU had, Brune?
I was just about to look it up. I have the stats broadcast up too. I don't have it. Man, it's got to be low. Okay, hold on. Just give me like 10 seconds to think. The longest run was 10 yards. I mean...
And it was Caleb Jackson on a random play.
1 carry, 10 yards, Caleb Jackson. Okay, 3. 4?
4. It's 4. It's Caleb Jackson's 10-yard run was the only rushing play of 10 yards or more. And then you obviously had Nussmeier's, Jerry Jones-like pop-up to pass to Xavier Thomas that he brought all the way down to the 17. And then you had a 15-yard pass in the third quarter to Barry and Brown over the middle of the field, which if you remember, that was the one we're like, okay, that's the first time he's had any zip on the football.
Yes.
And we'll get into this. I don't want to get too much into the weeds on Nussmeier and everything. We're just talking drives. And then you had the 21-yard pass over the middle to Nick Anderson with 9:32 left in the fourth. So you had 4 explosive plays, Bernie. You had 3 explosive passing plays, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. You can't win doing that. And we'll talk offense, but like that just kind of shows you, you only gave it 24 points. And you mentioned this. They had what? Was it 4 drives inside the 5-yard line in the first half?
They had the stretch where they had 4 out of 5 drives and end inside the 10 from 9:05 in the first quarter, where they had that 7.5-minute drive that went 83 yards, 18 plays, and they kicked a field goal. Then punt, then AJ Halsey's punch out at like the 2, and then touchdown. So that's a 5 series stretch spanning from first quarter to halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. The last thing on the defense, I mean, look, we could sit here and talk about anything and everything. Yeah, they gave up some gap integrity. You can see that. That has to be fatigue. It's fatigue. And that obviously plays both mentally and physically. With you needing to be in the right spot at the right time. That point, we obviously know Weeks had maybe a little bit of a hand injury that wasn't quite, that he got taped up. West Weeks was nowhere to be found, really, truthfully, in this game. Devon Keys shouldered a lot of load in the second half at the inside linebacker spot. And then, too, Brune, I guess the last thing on defense, because I really don't want to hate on this group. You tried to say this, and it was met with, and Ralph is producing in the background. He knows I love this. It'll be fine. Don't worry. Gabe Relaford, not having that 4-man rotation at edge hurts you, I think. Yeah. Because it's no knock, but it's obvious that those are the 4 guys that you have, and then there's a drop off after that at that position.
Yeah. In honor of Shea not being here, I will read off snap counts this entire podcast. And Patrick Payton had 67 snaps, and
he played good, dude. He played well.
He played well, but 67 snaps, and then Pyburn 64 snaps. Like that's just a lot of snaps for a defensive lineman. You don't typically see them play 70% of the snaps in a game. If not, that's like 75% of snaps in a football game. That's just a ton. So I think that is I think what I brought up to you was like, are we not weighing enough of Relaford being out, Durham being out, them being kind of nicked up, and then Weston Davis goes out, which they upgraded, but whatever. Still, like, it doesn't feel like they are cohesive right now. It feels like they're kind of piecing things together, taped together. Now they're going on the road playing Lane Kiffin, and this is what you're trying to do. So yeah, I definitely do think it made a difference in this game, even if Relaford only played the 40 snaps that Jamari Butler played or something like that. Like, I think it is absolutely substantial. I have one more thing on this. I have a couple more things actually on this defense if we want to.
Well, I want to say, I give my flowers to AJ Halsey. The guy, he can tackle, and he hits pretty hard. Was the leading tackler, had the forced fumble. I told you in the preseason, I love the way he played. I think Tamarcus Cooley lives a little bit desired in the tackling category.
For sure.
But if you're going to offset that with guys that can cover, then okay, we'll take that. No, that's defensively. I don't really. They're not getting home. I'll say that they're not getting home on the sacks. There's something. Brune, you sat next to me 2 weeks ago against Florida, and you said, "Hey, they're not getting home unless they're blitzing more than 4." And they didn't. They didn't record a sack this entire against. Like, I know it's a more mobile quarterback, but they're not really. The pass rush isn't as vaunted as I think maybe we thought they were going to be.
Payton
in terms
was
of getting
fine.
Home.
Patrick Payton was obviously, I think, had a solid game in terms of like compressing the pocket and getting his hands up, batting some passes down against a shorter quarterback. But Pyburn is not a pass rusher. We knew that going into the year. No. We know that now.
What I said in the press box?
Yeah, watch him on a pass rushing down and watch him against a tackle. Like, he doesn't have that, which is, it's not the end of the world. He can do other things, but in terms of pass rushing, again, why Relaford's departure or injury is significant. Pyburn has to play more and on pass rushing downs, and then Jamari Butler, while I think he's like good, I think there's a significant drop off from where like Relaford would be. And so you have those two. And then Bernard Gooden is the only D tackle, in my opinion, that consistently can compress the pocket from the inside. And that's hard to do, right? Like, defensive tackles, 3 techs, defense, like it's hard to get pressure from the interior, but it's very, very valuable.
He does it.
Bernard Gooden is the one who can do that from a B gap, from a 3 tech type stuff. So I think those are your 2 pass rushers. Outside of them, you're kind of you don't really have like dynamic pass rushers, and that's why they blitz, and that's why you have Harold Perkins, and that's why they try to figure it out in other ways. So that is it is a concern, because when you play against these quarterbacks, you'd like to get home with 4, especially against like a Lane Kiffin offense. You don't really want to have to continue just dialing up blitzes and let him counter you, and they haven't been able to do that.
Well, and this is the first quarterback that could really make you pay, not just with his arm, but with his legs.
I
mean, you haven't faced anybody that can step up in the pocket and take off.
Yeah.
I mean, Chambliss, look, our board was roasting the fact that Chambliss is D2. Dude, I don't care. He's a D1 SEC quarterback. That's exactly what he is right now.
He-
And
he's
Brune, you and I said that ball pops out of his hand the way he throws the football. He's got a live arm. I thought he had great pocket awareness in this game. Like he can feel pressure from both sides. Like he very, very aware of the way he plays. We'll get to that and kind of where I think where Lane Kiffin's just one of the best offensive minds in college football and why. But they simplified everything, and it made things very easy for Chambliss in terms of what you do at home, against this. So I don't know, man. I mean, that's all I've got on the defense, and then we can talk offense.
I got
we can talk Nussmeier,
I have a
but what do
couple
you want to say?
specifics here on the defense before we move to the offense. I'll start with the negative first. West Weeks and Devon Keys were not even close to good enough in this game. Next to Whit Weeks, you could argue that Witt, Harold, and all the linebackers, I guess you'd call them, were schemed out of this game to a degree. West and Keys, in my opinion, and people got really excited about them. I think was the Florida game, maybe, I don't remember, but people were getting really excited about West Weeks and Keys and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't think they're bad, but to act like there's like, to act like they're like, oh, this defense is just, and again, this was when we were all really, really hyped about the defense. And again, it's a very, very good defense, but we talked about the pass rush. I think the linebacker spot next to Whit Weeks, which we kind of knew going into the season was a question, is still a question. And then you get to the cornerback spot, which, again, I think these guys are good. PJ Woodland and DJ Pickett are good. And then even, I went back and looked at it, Mansour Lane allowed 2 catches for 30 yards, like on 2 targets. So while he wasn't getting targeted a lot, he did allow a couple catches, which we haven't seen. We just haven't seen teams challenge them in man-to-man coverage. And Lane Kiffin saw it, attacked it, exposed it. There were times where he attacked Harold Perkins in the slot. There were times he attacked like Tamarcus Cooley in the slot. I thought it was a masterful game plan there. And it kind of does give the game plan to people moving forward. I don't think teams can execute it as well as Ole Miss did, but it gives you a game plan to where, oh, you're going to leave, if you're Alabama, you're going to leave Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, or whoever else on an island here. We're going to throw it no matter what. We might get a PI, we might get a catch. Like you might get an interception like PJ Woodland did. But more often than not, we're going to have a chance for an explosive play or for a first down. And it's a hard line to toe, because I think when you have Harold Perkins on the field, not to get like too deep into like the micro aspect of this defense, but like when you have Harold Perkins on the field, you kind of have to play some man on the perimeter, because he is either blitzing or he's spying or he's like kind of playing that rover role, and you don't want him in as much like safety type or zone type stuff. I'm really interested to see how LSU adjusts moving forward, and I'm not a defensive coordinator. Blake Baker's obviously already thought of all this, or thought of much, much more than my brain can comprehend. But I've said it for multiple weeks now. Teams are going to just start throwing at these man receivers because that's the only option you have against this defense, and they started doing it. So that's my other question. I don't know if you have a take on that.
Yeah, I mean, you said Delane, 2 for 31? He gave
something
up?
like that. I can go check.
I'll live with that. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, he still think he's top 5 corner in the country.
Yeah, he's definitely good.
He's definitely good. Woodland, I mean, that's what you're going to get, right? I mean, when you play quarterbacks and offenses with a pulse, which through 5 weeks of the first month of the season, this is the first offense with a true pulse they've played. When you do that, they're going to be able to challenge you. And regardless, like, I mean, we had some Ole Miss media right down in front of us in the press box, and they said, that's your best play right now is to get PI. On that 70-yard drive they had, 45 yards, 2 PI penalties, and then the West Weeks, that's just – yeah. I mean, you had 40 yards on penalties alone. And the West Weeks – correct me if I'm wrong, that West Weeks roughing call, that was on 3rd down. You would have gotten off the field, right?
It was right after a holding call on 1st down, so it was 1st and 20.
First.
And it would have been 2nd and 20, which obviously with this defense, I think would have been a stop for certain. But yeah, I gave them 1st down, 15 yards.
Ralph, can you put up Reed's latest comment? I want to say something here about the linebacker room. You'll like this. Not a big fan of Keys, he says, but my point is West shouldn't be in there. I always thought he got Singleton's spot because he had a head start, but Singleton didn't look ready yet. I'll tell you this. There's a former LSU linebacker that is looking really, really good over on the Plains right now. that left because of lack of playing time, and he's exactly the type of athletic guy that you would probably need at that spot in a game like this. Xavier Atkins has looked really good. That's all I'm going to say on that.
No,
but I don't know if you had a comment.
Yeah, I don't. Singleton plays behind Witt because he's so athletic and a great mover and stuff. I think I'm curious how Keys and West look moving forward because they are just not really fast, which neither one of them, we said going into the year, was a highly rated guy. Like, we knew these weren't terrific 5-star athletes running around here, but you had Witt.
Keys got on the field because he's a smart, good football player who had a higher floor than the guys last year.
Correct.
That's why he got on, and he had an understanding of the playbook. Blake Baker trusted him. Yeah. That's why he got on the field last year over those guys.
And now with this level of defense around him and around that linebacker spot, again, we're nitpicking on a great defense, but that's where you start nitpicking. So yeah, that's the only thing. I'll end this on a positive note. You mentioned AJ Halsey. I think AJ Halsey is the best player on this team, flat out. You sit with that. Let that marinate for a second. AJ Halsey is the best player on this team. He is an incredible playmaker. I think he's everything that he wants, everything that this defense does well. AJ Halsey is kind of the backbone for it. And then you add in, obviously, the interception, the fumble. I mean, he's an incredible player at every level. And when he's able to roam around, I'm just going to keep calling players NFL players. He's like Ed Reed back there. Oh, I mean, he's hitting people, making plays. This is what this defense needs. Yeah. That's what this. If this defense is going to be a top 10 defense, AJ Halsey has to be the Ed Reed to this defense, and I think he is right now. So AJ Halsey is the best player on this team, in my opinion.
Reed says maybe, but Delane is really good.
Delane's good. Delane's very, very good.
Delane's very, very good. I would say top 2 players so far this year. My top 3 players on LSU. We'll go quick ad break here, and then we'll come back with offense.
Yeah,
and maybe you have yours. Delane, Halsey, Aaron Anderson. Those are my 3.
Cool with that. I'm cool with that.
That's my 3. Aaron Burrell kickoffs. So, but hey, listen. Let's talk real quick.
Yes.
If you want to get your tickets, you got 2 weeks for LSU welcomes South Carolina into Tiger Stadium. Should be. It's a matchup that fans need to show up for because now things get really, really interesting with what you've got in this slate in October. You can use our friends over at Game Time. You can use code TIGERS for $20 off your order today. Make sure you take that. Make sure you take advantage of that. Get some good seats. LSU has a couple of home games left. You don't want to miss out on those. Make sure you support the Tigers for what is going to be an interesting stretch run here. Okay, I wanted to dive straight into offense, but I think this is a great question that was just asked.
Go ahead.
Brambo asked this. Brambo, longtime listener, often commenter. Cheetah is still defending BK. I don't know who Cheetah is. I apologize. As if he didn't hire Sloan. The blame always starts at the top. Nonetheless, now here's the part I want to talk about. Nonetheless, we still feel like this is a playoff team. We shouldn't be panicking about one loss. Brambo, here's the problem. Currently, I don't think this is a playoff team. Currently, I do not think it is. Unless something changes on the offense, this is not a playoff team.
Yeah,
that's my take.
This is a great transition to the offense.
Yeah, it probably is.
And also, I think after we talk defense, we could talk big picture, season outlook or schedule outlook or whatever we think, whatever. But this offense is not good enough to score 24 points on Ole Miss. We're talking here. I mean, yeah, they couldn't even score 20, but you couldn't even match what Ole Miss had here. It's damning. And so you look at the rest of the schedule, and I'm sorry, but you have 3 more road games against ranked opponents that are going to be very, very challenging, and you welcome A&M.
You will not be favored in those 3 road games.
They'll be favored at Vandy. They gotta be. Yeah, they'll be favored at Vandy. I'll make a show bet of that. The models, Bryce. They haven't caught up to Vanderbilt, the wagon that is Vanderbilt.
Oh, God. Okay, whatever. Yeah, let's talk offense here. And, Ralph, I want to start off with a question we got earlier in the show, and let's go there because I know a lot of questions about to start pouring in here. The first question, and it's from our friend Barath. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that name, specific to the run game. At this point, is it just personnel that we cannot run the ball, not the scheme?
So,
it's a good question. Thanks for the
I
question.
think it is 80 to 90% personnel. And I say that with the fact that development or the lack thereof over the past 3 seasons has gotten them to this point. This isn't just like they don't have the talent right now. They have recruited well enough. They have done enough in terms of player retention. They've done enough in terms of having the players that they want on this offensive line. They could have gone and got a right tackle from the portal. They didn't. Okay, that's your decision. You have the players that you want here. You just have not developed them, and you do not have a presence as an offensive line or a bulk as an offensive line that can push people around. And it is 80% of the lack of run game, in my opinion, is absolutely on that offensive line not being good enough.
So totally agree with the lack of development is alarming because look, and people will say this, we work for a company that does this, obviously Brune.
Yeah.
We both worked for companies that do this for a living. You rank players, right? They rank players, and that's what they do. They have all of these, and this is what they do. That's great. But those rankings really tell you it's a lot of potential based, like the NFL draft, a lot of potential based. You still have to get a kid on campus and develop them. Now, there's sometimes kids can just walk out there and they're that dude, right? I mean, you see that at different places. If you obviously college football fan, like Jeremiah Smith was that dude. Shows up, probably could have played in the NFL freshman year.
Will Campbell.
Will Campbell, great example. Emory Jones, to a certain extent, was that type of player for you as well. There is little to none development. I mean, the things you're seeing, Brune, when I went back and watched this today, whether it's hand placement, whether it's overall mentality, this is like fall camp year 1 stuff. Install. Like, that's my problem with it, is like stuff that you're watching this group get beat on up front. And it's not just Paul Mabinga and Cohen Eccles. Like, it's guys that have been in and around the program for a while. Like, Tyree Adams didn't have a good game. Just didn't have a good game. Yeah. And guess what? You know who he went up against? A guy he probably went up against with the 2s-on-2s all year last year in Deshaun Womack. So all that I'm saying is, from a developmental standpoint, you're kind of in this weird period, and it's why they had to go out and get 3 offensive linemen or 2 offensive linemen in the portal. Yeah. Because you've stalled out. Like, is that fair to say? You've stalled out 100%. Your growth at the offensive line position because you really don't know what you have, because these guys haven't gotten any better since they've gotten on campus. Now, I think you're sitting in a situation. Now, I do want to give credit. I am 110%, we'll go on the record and say this, I am 110% cool with Carius Kern playing the rest of the season at right tackle and taking his lumps. Why? You saw the mentality. When he baptized that Ole Miss defender, and I'm not even going to try to say his name, it's Princely, whoever.
Princely Umami yelling. Yeah.
Not killing it over there. That's why we pay you the big bucks. But when he baptized it, it's a mindset. You got to have a mindset as an offensive lineman. I can live with you making aggressive mistakes. When you're playing pat a cake up front and you really don't know and guys are getting past you, man, that to me is like, you can't have that. Like, that's ridiculous. And it's infectious. It's across the board. Like, I don't know. Was Carius Kern the best offensive lineman? Like, I PFF grade or whatever, but just from your eye test, like, I felt like I was like, from a mindset, he's trying to run through somebody, and I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I was Princely is the brother that went to play at Florida. Prince Will, it was the one that at Ole Miss this year.
But Princely was at Ole Miss last year.
Princely was at Ole Miss last year as well. Yeah, yes, Prince Will was this one. Regardless, to answer your question, yes, I think Carius Kern was the best offensive lineman last year or last night.
Yeah.
And side tangent, how infuriating it is that Weston Davis would have started and played that whole game if he didn't get hurt in warm-ups.
I tweeted that. I said it makes 0 sense why Carius Kern has not started a game.
It gives validity to every single personnel question that people have of this team, from Harlem Berry not playing.
Across the board.
To now even Michael Van Buren, which we'll talk about in a second. But it gives validity, like, what are you looking at? Because that didn't even look competitive. It was like we watched Weston Davis the first 4 weeks of this season get beat every single game. It didn't matter if it was against Southeastern, Louisiana Tech. Go down the list. He was putting up 40 PFF grades I don't know what Karius's current PFF grade was, but damn, he actually looked like he wanted to be out there and knew what he was doing and had some physicality to him, some toughness to him, and could block. I can't believe that it took us this long to get Karius Kern onto the field. And again, was it perfect? No, but I'm just
it's
here
a
like
mindset, man.
I feel like there was enough there to where Karius Kern has the tools to where if he's not thrown out there 30 minutes before kickoff, like, oh, hey, you're starting, by the way.
What was it? 22 minutes on the clock.
Yeah,
20. That's what Kelly
me?
said.
Yeah, Kelly's like, oh, he didn't even know. All right, Karras, yeah, you have to actually go get ready to play because before this, you haven't gotten any snaps other than Southeastern. Like it's outrageous. And so, I agree. Karras Kern should start at right tackle. I'm not saying he should start at right tackle the rest of his career. Probably would like to move him back into guard. Replace Josh Thompson next year, but that's for another day. I'm just like, you have to at some point have toughness about you on this offensive line, and I think Karius Kern brings that. I will say, Braylon Moore has not been the same since that injury.
Yeah,
I
he
don't think
needs
he's
the
been
bye week.
bad. Yeah, he needs the bye week. Like they need to get him right because when he's right in that Clemson game, I thought he was like an absolute game changer. And
He's an
since
anchor.
then, yeah, since that ankle injury, it was ankle, right? I think it was.
Yeah, it was a high ankle sprain, I believe.
Yeah,
Whatever
he just hasn't quite had the burst or anything. So I blame it on the offensive line. 85% to me. I just can't believe they can't run block.
I guess one more thing about that I'll say is, what scheme would you run with this offensive line? Like, I welcome you. Like, what would you like to run? Because you can't run anything.
They've tried like the zone running scheme that I think Alex Atkins actually wants to run a good amount. They can't run it. They can't run it. And we talked about it again last week. It was a Caden Durham problem, right? Because Caden Durham wasn't able to hit the hole back on the cutbacks. Mm-hmm. I'm here like, dude, they can't block. They can't zone run block. That is a skill in itself. We're talking about here. So I don't know the behind the scenes in terms of what has gone wrong to get to this point. All I can react to is what I've seen here and also in fall camp for 3 or 4 weeks where they also weren't able to run the ball. Like this has been a exacerbated problem now over the course of the past 2-3 months.
Man, I'm loving the comments coming in here, and I'm excited to keep talking about this offense because it's going to fire. We get to be a little fired up.
I need to start looking at the comments here.
Don't. It'll throw you off. Okay. It'll throw you off. I've got them up, but that's what
I'll let Ralph do
that. Okay, so we've talked offensive line here. That was a great question. Thanks for asking that.
Oh, I do want to say real quick, pass blocking wasn't terrible.
No, did you? No, did you see? Go ahead.
Now I will say there were a few snaps that infuriated people, rightfully so, where Ole Miss only sent 3 and got home, and actually compressed the pocket with 3. But there were a couple of times where they sent 4, and I thought they did a good job. Ole Miss only blitzed 6 times the whole game. 6 times, and they were still able to I thought the pass protection was good enough. If Nussmeier was sharp, which we'll talk about later. Oh, Bryce just left. Whoa. Ralph, what we got here? He's still here.
Am I good? What just happened?
Bryce is still here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I don't know what just happened.
We don't see you though.
That's you know what that is? It's an inside job in LSU football. It's trying to take us down for talking. That's
trying to take us down.
That Mozilla Firefox just died, Ralph.
Hey, this man's on Firefox out here. But yeah, the pass protection was good enough. I thought. Again, there were a couple times where the 3-man pressure got to him, which was annoying. But overall, I wasn't upset at the pass pro.
You know, and people are going to start this conversation. People are going to start this conversation. Well, shout out Zach, he's in Grenada, Mississippi. But people are going to start this conversation. Well, they couldn't run last year either. And it's like, well, maybe there is a sense of development in just zone scheme. Maybe it's just all bad. I don't know. That's a whole podcast by itself. Ryan says LSU's offense is an identity crisis. No, they don't have an identity crisis. They don't have an identity. You got to have an identity to have a crisis. That all fallbacks on the coaching staff not developing the players. Okay, so let's talk this. Let's just dive in. People want to talk about, and in that one comment that we just kind of threw up there a second ago about dropping 8, like Ole Miss pretty much said, Garrett, we dare you. We dare you to throw the ball down the field. Like, we dare you to do it. Now, Nussmeier last year said, okay, we're going to do that. It would have been up the challenge. I don't know what this is. And I wrote about this last night. He's either hurt or he's not. Like, there's no way that I love, because this is 2 years in a row we've sat in a press conference where a player has said something that was contradicting what the head coach said. Last year against Texas A&M, I was in there. Brian Kelly says, "Yeah, we prepared for Marcel Reed. We just couldn't do it." Greg Penn comes out and says, "No, we didn't really prepare for it at all." Garrett Nussmeier, "I'm not going to talk about my injury situation." Not really saying he's not hurt, but I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. He don't want to talk about anything ever. So then you go over to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly says, hey, he's not hurt. So it's 2 straight years, big losses that you've had, conference losses on the road, and you've had this distinct divide. Now, that's one thing or the other that we can talk about. But my issue with this is if he is hurt, okay, if like he is legitimately hurt, why is he playing? I said this on the Instant Reaction show. All due respect to what you've had in that quarterback room previously, you have a bona fide backup. I'm not the person that wants to sit there and, say, well, hey, Michael Van Buren did this, that, and that. I get it. He didn't look great in fall camp. His sample size against Southeastern is okay, it's whatever. But the question remains, did you actually bring Michael Van Buren in to compete or to hang out for a year and develop? Because if not, that creates an issue of not complacency on Garrett Nussmeier's part, but he knows that he's never gonna have the rug pulled out from him. He knows he's not gonna be brought back to the sideline if that's not real. So if he's hurt, okay, say it and let's get something different in there because you're costing the team. If he's not, then there has to be some type of real push from behind him to make him a better player. That I understand player loyalty. I get investment in the NIL era. I understand all of that. At the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. You've got to be able to do that. You can't coach and fear the portal. You know who doesn't do that? The guy that you just lost to, the head coach you just lost to. He doesn't care. And that's why I respect him in that aspect. So I know we're going broad picture here with this, but I don't know how much more we can talk about what is wrong with Garrett Nussmeier. If it's not an injury, he's indecisive, he's timid, he's gun shy. We complained last year, hey, he's a little bit too much of a gunslinger. How many fans would love to see that version of Garrett Nussmeier if he's truly healthy now? I'd rather see him make aggressive mistakes. Brune, the interception that he threw, he was not even under pressure, was not pressured. He just throws the ball. And it's like, that is, I don't know what that is. Like, that made me mad. And people know this. I'm not even an LSU fan. I cover this team completely impartially. I mean, I don't even know what I'm watching here because everyone expects this to be better. So there's my little soapbox, but you take what you want to say.
No, I think you covered it well. Brian Kelly, again, going back to what I said early in the podcast, was like, I think we stopped listening to Brian Kelly. I think we stopped believing every word he says as the gospel here. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to him admitting that Garrett Nussmeier was injured, which we kind of knew. We knew going into the season that
never looked right. Yeah.
Yeah. In fall camp, they were limiting him. Yeah, last practice, again, we've talked about that a couple times. They're not comfortable, or the way that he framed it was like he's been on like kind of a pitch count. They're trying to rest him, but then also it can't get worse, so we're going to play him against Southeastern. And then he, in the same breath, he also said, well, it's something you got to get to the bye week to really, reset. That's almost verbatim what he said, get to the bye week and reset. And so I'm here like, why is he even playing against Southeastern? Goes out against Southeastern and has a very, very good game, but that's Southeastern because you don't have to think. When you are injured, I don't care what level of athlete you are. If you are injured in any way and you go out and try to play, it's not even the physical side that really bothers you a lot. It's your mental side saying, can I do this still?
Yeah.
And so if you're Garrett Nussmeier, you're dropping back to pass, you see a window that you have thrown 100 times out of 100 because last year you did it every time, and he is such an anticipation thrower. You have to be able to have that zip on your throws. In the back of his mind, it's like, instead of that being X amount of miles per hour, I don't know if I can do that. So now he has seen his first option cut across the field against the zone on a deep breaking in route, and he hesitates, he pauses, and he's like, I don't know if I can do that. So then if he doesn't throw it, it's like, all right, second read, check down. That's where you get all the check down stuff. And if he does throw it, he's not confident in it. And so I believe personally, like this is just my belief, I think he is not 100%. Like I think he is legitimately not able to throw the ball the way he threw the ball last year. I think that's just safe to say.
And he's compensating for it, creating bad form.
And so now the form has gone out the window, and I'm not Joe Sloan, I'm not a technique coach for quarterbacks, but like this isn't hard to watch. Preston Guy, our good pal Preston Guy, tweeted out video of him last year throwing a deep ball compared to this year throwing a deep ball. It's a different it's a different dude back there.
He's using his whole body on that throw to Chris Hilton, and he didn't get it there.
Exactly. So again, he's hurt. When you're hurt, you start second guessing yourself, and then to go to your point, why the hell is he in the game against Ole Miss when you have a chance to, for most of the game, they cut it to one possession, they're in the game, and the offense still has no pulse? How do you not go to Michael Van Buren? I said I would have started the second half with Michael Van Buren, see how it goes, and then go from there. Because you have to win this game. You have to exhaust every resource at your disposal to win this game. This is not let's see how he does and we can figure it out in the bye week and go from this. You have to go 10-2 to make the playoff. You have to win this game. And to stick with him when he's clearly not right, and I'll give him credit, Nussmeier toughed out the touchdown drive, right, where he had to throw Nick Anderson, he had the conversion for it. Cool, but it's flashes in a pan right now. You're getting that one out of every 6 drives, and so I just can't imagine. Oh, not to mention Van Buren's legs. I just wanted to see Van Buren for a drive or two at the very, very least, just to throw a changeup at him, throw something else at Pete Golding, because Pete Golding clearly didn't have to blitz, didn't have to change anything up, gave you the same damn look every time. All right, what is he gonna do when Michael Van Buren comes to the game and I can run quarterback power or something like that? I'm just saying, you can throw something else at him.
The problem is everybody in the building knows it's never going to be an option with him behind there. And then you add in the fact if he's really hurt, then it's even more of not an option.
He ain't running.
So it's he's not running to begin with. If he's hurt, he's definitely not running. So I'm telling you, when as a defense, you know that. Guys, opposing offensive coordinators are so good at what they do. I said this in the Florida game or the Clemson game. When you give them half of the cheat sheet as a defensive coordinator, buddy, you can have a field day. I don't care what you think about Pete Golding. The dude, you gave him half the cheat sheet. You knew that there was never going to be an opportunity for Garrett Nussmeier to run. If he's healthy, we're definitely never going to pull it on that zone read if he's not healthy.
So, and then you drop 8, you make him when you drop 8, you make quarterbacks make accurate and on time and precise throws. And if he is compensated in any way, that throw becomes a lot harder. So
both mentally and physically.
Yeah. I think this is a bad situation all around. I'm curious as to what he looks like after the bye week. But again, according to Brian Kelly, this isn't something that rest fixes. He said this is just something, you play, and he's on the right side of it, and that's why he plays against Southeastern, because he needed the reps and stuff. No, he doesn't need the reps. We were right. Every LSU fan, we posted a poll on our board, and it was 70+% was don't play him against Southeastern. Just don't. And it's fans. Cool. They're right. They were right. Because ultimately, it can't be worse than what we just saw. It can't be.
That's a good point, because for everyone's well, yeah, of course the backup quarterback's the most popular person. Yeah, I get that. That's fine. There's no way you can look at what you saw on film in that game and say, well, I'll tell you this, there's 2 parts to it. There's no way you can say it's worse. And if it is, shame on you for recruiting that quarterback room like that. Seriously, if that's the best option, you don't have a top quarterback room like you think you do.
Yeah.
You don't. And I don't believe that. I think Michael Van Buren was more than capable of moving the football against Ole Miss's defense. I won't say winning the football game. I won't say lighting them up. He was more than capable of moving the football against that defense.
Yeah. Again, I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is healthy. I again have been very positive about Garrett Nussmeier's talent over the past 5 years, and that's not Garrett Nussmeier. That Garrett Nussmeier we just saw, and the Garrett Nussmeier we've seen this season, that's not the Garrett Nussmeier that I was confident saying he's a first-round pick 4 years ago, 3 years, whenever the hell I said it. Like, you go out and see him in the SEC championship game in 22-2. That's not this Garrett Nussmeier. And I refuse to believe that he's not in some way, shape, or form injured. So
I'm with you. We're not trying. Look, I want to make it clear. We're not coming on here trying to dog on Garrett Nussmeier. I think the guy's hurt. My frustration is sitting up there at the podium saying he's not hurt, because then you're doing a disservice to your quarterback. Yeah. Because then it's like, and you know what? If I was Garrett Nussmeier, I'd say, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it. Because if my head coach went out there and said that, then I mean, like, what do you say?
Kelly's basically putting it. I mean, he's putting it on Nussmeier.
But what did he? Our good friend Koki, AP poll voter, future commissioner of college football. What did we sit there? What did Koki ask him? He said, "Well, Koki, it's not all just on one player, but they just the post game press conference didn't make any sense."
Yeah, and it's not all on Garrett Nussmeier. Like I said, if they could run the ball worth a damn, like, imagine all those screen passes and you don't have to be as explosive as they need to be right now if they could run the damn ball. But instead they average 2 yards a carry. Instead they can't run the ball, and they have a quarterback that is clearly hampered. This is not the situation they want to be in, and I'm at a loss. I don't know what to expect. I'm scared. At halftime of that Ole Miss game,
it's good.
We were both like, it's over. I know it sounds crazy to say, but it felt over to me. And I don't usually feel that way because, unless you can make some runs at this thing, I didn't see a way back and that's why I said, just throw Michael Van Buren in the game. Just try something.
That 17-7 game felt like it was about 28-7. Yeah, that's what that felt like. That didn't feel like it. When we looked up and it was 17-10, I told you, I was like, dude, I don't even know how this is a one possession game. And shout out to the defense in the third quarter, right? Like, the defense stepped up in the third quarter, played well. Just a couple of notes on this offense. We said we weren't going to go an hour. We're going to go an hour. That's fine, though. It's our programming. Real quick here. Offensively, just things I don't want to see going forward, and we'll go big picture. Juwan Johnson at running back, I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see that be a legitimate thing for you at the running back position.
Like a mainstay or
mainstay. I think. Yeah. I mean, look, I got on here to apologize last week, about saying that I questioned it. Well, that's why. I think Harlem Berry has to be the option for you at that rotation. Juwan Johnson can spell you. He does not need to be a featured back in this offense. I understand Caden Durham was hurt. Xavion Thomas has to be utilized in the run game. I think at times Xavion Thomas is the best running back you have on the field at times, which is crazy to think about with his elusiveness and what he can do. Yeah. And then, look, I'll just say this. Stop using Caleb Jackson unless you're going to run him north and south. Just stop using him. You're wasting his opportunities. You're wasting his reps and the mileage and the tread on his tires as a running back if you're going to run outside zone with him. That's not what he's built for, run him north and south. Last thing, Trades Green, who I don't know if he was really even healthy. Dude's got an ACL brace looking like me out there playing. I don't know what that is.
I meant to mention when I talked about Relaford's hurt, Durham's hurt, Trades clearly not 100%. Big brace on his knee. I don't know. I don't even know how many snaps he played. Look at me. I'm trying to be Shea, and I don't have the snap counts of Trades.
Well, I'll just say this while you look that up. I will still say this once again. I'm going to wait to reserve judgment against Green, Sharp, these receivers, even Nick Anderson, until you can show me some semblance of a competent passing game. Yeah. Now, I'll say this. Chris Hilton, I don't know what in God's name is happening with Chris Hilton in the wide receiver position. He had a couple opportunities. I know they underthrow.
You mean you don't know in terms of...
I don't think we're waiting on this to happen, and I don't think this is ever going to happen.
Well, I thought he has a touchdown if Nussmeier could throw the damn ball 45 yards down the field.
Yeah, and if he learned how to time up a jump.
Now, Now he did. Nussmeier had a really good throw on the right sideline in the fourth quarter right there now the guy kind of pulled his arm, but again, if you're an LSU receiver, I expect you to make tough catches, so it's kind of unfair, but you could have caught the ball. Trades Green played 30 snaps, 19 passing snaps, obviously had 0 catches, was not a factor at all. So they need him
and he's
to
not
be
a
a
great
factor.
blocker, and so you don't have.
And he had a terrible holding call, or not call,
terrible.
holding. Like he actually did hold. Like it wasn't a bad call.
Yeah,
A lot of calls in that game.
Listen, Cheetah. LSU should have won even with bad offense on 3 plays.
Hell
DJ
no,
Pickett
they
interception.
shouldn't have.
Wait.
Sorry.
Hold.
Sorry.
Just calm down. You got aggressive last night.
Okay.
LSU should have won even with bad offense on 3 plays. DJ Pickett interception, Thomas touchdown sideline, 2 long deep pass to Hilton. Man, by that logic, Ole Miss could have won this game 38-10. I mean,
AJ Halsey punched out the ball at the 1 yard line. Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
here?
like I mean, So
I just love playing the what if game. After Clemson, it was we could have beat them 31-10, which again they could have. After Florida, they could have beat them by 3 touchdowns. They didn't, and this is what I said in the post game. You get credit in my mind for thoroughly outplaying Clemson in Florida the way you did, even though the scores don't reflect that. You get docked because you got your ass kicked by Ole Miss, and the score was only a 5-point game. Like
so you got to give Ole Miss credit. If you're going to give yourself credit for doing what you did against Florida and Clemson, you've got to in turn keep that same energy on the other side. That was PI. It was definitely PI. It was PI on DJ Pickett, like to go get that interception.
I think it was.
It was.
LSU fans are going to to be mad at you that you said it. That you said definitively it was. Fine. But
I mean, it was. The joke. The dude. How is that not PI?
I agree with you. I would have called. I think it is too.
So what's the counter? I'm willing.
They're saying that he kind of like let him go to a degree and then caught it.
Dude, I'm gonna say this right now. This is unhinged. If that's letting him go, bro, there's some people down in the Baton Rouge jail that need to be let go. Because that was, I mean, if that's letting somebody go by you,
just.
Louisiana State Penitentiary's got some offenders in there that need to get out tonight. That's what that is.
All right.
Okay. Of the season. This is crazy. All right. Last 9 minutes. Let's rock and roll. Where do we go from here? You know where we do go? To our friends over at BetMGM. Make sure you get those bets in. We got a bye week. LSU's going to win the bye week. That's really big. But you know what? In terms of what we got going on, make sure you check out. You can get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. A new player offer. Make sure you let them know that our friends over at Bengal Tiger sent you over there. All right, Brune. Let's talk real quick. Where do we go from here? Bye week. We'll talk with Brian Kelly this week. Going to be different in terms of media. I'll just say this about it, man. Like, the question came earlier. Ralph, that's a great comment. We'll put Ralph's comment up. He goes, after the first 5 weeks of football, I don't know what a catch is, a football move, or targeting, or what PI is.
Correct.
That's fair. That is fair. Let's go with this. Like, your margin of error just got a little bit more slim, and your road schedule, Brune, you harped on this last night on that drive down I-55. This road schedule's kind of interesting. You're going to have a sleepy, potentially 11 a.m. local time kickoff in Nashville against a Vanderbilt team that at best is going to be undefeated and probably a top 12 team in the country, which is crazy to think about. Or they're going to be a one-loss top 25 team with a loss to Alabama. So that's what you've got in that. You got to go to Alabama, who looked like they figured out a lot of things on the road last night against Georgia. Ty Simpson looks miles more comfortable than he did.
Yeah.
And then you got Oklahoma, who John Mateer should be back, obviously, in terms of his health and in a groove.
Point, yeah.
And you got to go to, what is it, Gaylord Memorial Stadium, and that place could be rocking where that could be a de facto playoff game to get into the playoff. That's just your road schedule. So, you said it. Hey, home-wise, I like how it shapes up. South Carolina, kind of a shell of themselves, but who knows if Lenore Sellers can run and throw, what could happen. Where do we go from here? Like, what has to happen in this bye week to reignite some confidence? What do you feel like has to happen? It's clear cut. I just don't know if it can happen.
Yeah. Like, outside of everything we've said, like we've said so much here, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be a guy who is a doomsday guy. But barring Garrett Nussmeier getting healthy, I don't see them making the playoffs. Because to make the playoffs, you have to go 10-2 in my head. Maybe a 9-3 gets there, but also if it would help a lot if Clemson had a pulse. If Clemson somehow ended up if they could just go 7-5, if Clemson could just do something here. At least the win wouldn't be like, damn, okay, cool. You beat Clemson by 7. They went 5-7 this year. Who cares? But like 10-2, like you're 9-3 without a big non-conference win now. I struggle to see it completely. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 9-3 does, but 10-2 is the floor in terms of getting in the playoffs typically. And in order to do that, you just read off the schedule. Like you have to win all your home games first of all. A&M's the only tough one, so maybe they will. They should. But then on the road, you got to go at least 2-1 in this stretch of Vanderbilt, Alabama, Oklahoma. And based on what we saw last night, if Garrett Nussmeier is not healthy, they're not beating those teams. So I just think it is very cut and dry. I think it's very simple. I think this defense, we know we're going to get up from them week after week. It might not be perfect, but I think we're very, very comfortable saying you're not scoring. I mean, the team shouldn't. I don't know if a team is going to score 30 on this defense.
Oh, they will if the offense plays worse than they did on Saturday.
I mean, barring like pick six or something like that, short field.
No, if AJ Halsey doesn't punch the ball, that's 31-19.
No, you're right. You're right. They got moved, but I don't know if they're going to play. They're not going to play an offense better than this one. Besides, they're not going to play an offense better than Ole Miss. Besides what, maybe Bama, I guess, in a world. Bama, but regardless,
Bama might be bad to
I'm saying we know we're going to get from the defense. It's literally just the offense at this point.
So I agree with you. It's very cut and dry. Like there isn't a lot of speculation of like what needs to happen. If Garrett Nussmeier continues to play the way he has, this team is probably 8-4. Like just being real. Like they're not going to be favored at Oklahoma. They're not going to be favored at Bama. And I would pick them to lose against Vanderbilt.
I mean, at home against A&M? What's the spread?
Bobby Petrino interim bump.
Okay,
that happened today.
No.
I'd take Taylor Green right now.
Yeah, as a quarterback right now.
As a quarterback now. So I don't know why we're sleeping on Vandy's ability to score. Bremo, I'm not. Dude, they don't play just ball control. Those jokers can move the football.
70. They've scored like 130 points the last 2 weeks. I know it's saying they can't score. I'm just
I mean, LSU scored 15 against Southeastern. So I mean, it is what it is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
Don't let Brian Kelly see that.
It's okay.
Now, come at you.
I think I agree with you. It's very cut and dry. Like this defense can be a championship level defense, no doubt about it.
Yep.
They need help, and so I will say this. And Brian Kelly has said this for 4 straight years, and this is going to be the next messaging if it gets worse, which is going to drive fans insane. There's nobody else walking through that door. Yeah, we know, and you got to figure it out with the guys in there because. Brune, I'm scared to look at 2026. You and I talked about that.
Don't even want to talk about it.
This is it. Like
this was their all. This was, and
this
not
is the all in
year. They can't I mean, they can re-up next year a bit, but like this was supposed. Like this is
the all in. I wouldn't even want to re-up a lot of this, but
no.
We were seeing now.
But yeah, so I mean, they just lost in the new AP pool, number 4 Ole Miss. But they have number 5 Oklahoma, number
Ole Miss
6
is number
A&M.
4 in the new AP poll.
Oh yeah, you didn't read my article on
no,
the site?
Remember I was asleep.
It takes 1/2 of a melatonin and is out.
5 milligrams of melatonin,
hours.
baby.
He's gone. Just not even the baby crying in the next room. Just nothing.
Yeah, my in-laws left. I had no idea. Woke up, I thought it was like 9:30. It was 12:05.
But yeah, 4 Ole Miss, 5 Oklahoma, 6 A&M, 10 Alabama. And 16 Vanderbilt. Like that's 5 of your last 7 games. Or am I 4? Whatever it is.
You really need to be asking the question: 7. Do you want Brian Kelly to be eating a piece of brisket, or do you want him to be dunked in Duke's mayo? I mean, not even
or a Pop-Tart coming out.
Not even blue plate like that. You know how bad that would be for LSU fans. Louisiana people have to watch their head coach get dunked in blue, and not even blue plate mayo. Duke's
mayo. Look, Garrett Nussmeier, I am not off the bus yet because because
we've seen it, man. If he gets healthy and figures this out, of course, at this point, Brune, if you're not going to believe what Brian Kelly says about that, I'm not going to believe that it can't get better. That's going to be my hopium I'm drinking. I'm putting the show on.
There you go. Look, he just has a flat tire, man. We all have flat tires, The Nuss Bus just got a little flat tire. He just needs a bye week. Get right, fix the torso, do whatever you got to do, get some healing magic in there and come back as a gunslinger and just let it rip because that's not Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know who that is. That's
Rob,
somebody.
We still have that
in the number 18. Also, it's not a number 18 curse, right? It's a number 7 curse. So I guess we don't have to worry about that. But there was a run of like number 7s that were bad. And people were like, don't do it. Let Bryce Koon. The highlight tape made the message board. That's what it did.
Make the message board. Shout out Ralph for putting that on the message board. Hey, look, we appreciate you though tuning in. Just a Sunday rewind, dissecting some things, having a good time chatting with you. We're gonna do this every single Sunday night through the season. Can't wait for Sunday rewinds with Brune and the basketball. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And baseball is going to be a lot of fun next spring. We'll have a good time with that. So we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you like, shout out Game Time and BetMGM, our presenting sponsors of tonight's show. They do a fantastic job. Continue to support us by supporting them there as well. Like we said, Brune and Shea going to be with a long-form mailbag pod tomorrow. Brune, I think you're going to open that up tonight.
Yeah,
I'll open it up questions in.
I'll open it up at 8 p.m. Hopefully we have this up by then, but I don't know if people are listening or not. 8 to 9. 8 to 9 p.m. That's when it'll be open, Central Time.
8 to 9 p.m. Central Time. You can head over to the board. If you're not already, make sure you take advantage of an awesome deal. $1 for your first week over at the Bengal Tiger. You also get a free annual subscription to The Athletic included. And that goes, I guess, locks into effect after that 1 week is over. So make sure you take advantage. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate all the commenters as well hanging out with us here on a Sunday night. I'm with you there, the dude. The 2-week layover. We got to talk about this. It's going to be brutal. But, hey, college football's in full swing. The first month is gone. And you know what? Who's even good? You know what? Maybe we're all just – who's even good? So maybe we're just kind of sitting here being way too hard on it. And maybe there's going to be 4 8-4 teams that represent the playoff out of the SEC. And Colorado State and Jay Norvell, and that'll be what we can roll with. So we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. Ralph in the background. My name is Bryce. That's Brune. We'll catch you next time here on the Bengal Tiger podcast. As always, see you next time. Thanks for watching.